Hey there, Heather Boyd Wire here, and welcome to day 6 of the 10-day wire bracelet making challenge. So if you're participating in the challenge, you can see the details below in the description. You can either participate on Facebook or you can participate on Discord. So today we're going to make a name bracelet, and you have a couple of options for this. You can either make it like I've made them previously. I'll link up that video below. They're just made with one piece of wire. Or if you want to do an alternative using a chain, this is what we're going to do today. So what you're going to need for the project is some chain, of course. This is just, I bought this at my wholesaler, but you can also upcycle a chain if you already have it. You'll need some jump rings, your tools, and either 20 gauge or 18 gauge wire. So the first method is a little more fragile because we're not going to put a frame around the name. So basically what you would do is just form your name. This is the 18 gauge wire. You can definitely see my tutorials. I have a playlist of the name tutorials and also just the individual letters of the alphabet. So you could definitely check those out. I'll link them up below. And then I'm just going to do the name Emily. So that's actually the name of my niece. And I can't remember if I've actually done Emily's name before. So this might be a first. And we're going to just form the name. This is a stiffer wire, the 18 gauge for sure. It's quite a bit stiffer. But it's good to use the thicker wire if you're not going to do a frame around the name. So we're just going to keep working around with it just to form now the M. So the M, you guys know that I like to do just that little jog first. This is going to actually be really tricky because the wire is super thick. So I don't think I usually make the names with this wire. I think I probably did for the bracelet because it needs to be more solid. But for just the names themselves, I usually use 20 gauge wire. So we're going to do the M. And then the I, and this actually with the 18 gauge wire might end up being a little bit big because just the nature of when you work with a thicker wire, the thing you make is going to end up to be quite a bit bigger. So we're just going to form the I, bring that one around. Not everybody dots their eyes, but I just like the look of it when it's when the I is dotted. So we're going to go around here and the L, and if you want to make it more funky and cursive, you can. My words and my names tend to be a little bit stiff, but goals are to make them a little looser. And actually I did a funny video where I make words without tools and they end up being a lot more free-flowing and loose, which is really cool. But the trouble is when you're working with small words and small wire, it's really hard to work without tools to get any kind of detail at all. So there we go. So we've got Emily, and bring that around. Now, of course, the key is to know like how you're going to put it on a bracelet form. You could definitely do like I did in a previous video where you put it on a leather cord. I'll link up that one below too. I kind of like the way it's kind of wonky there. It's kind of interesting. Or you could put it like I've done like the wire bands. You can wind it onto a wire bangle or a wire band. This challenge day is pretty open-ended. You can have a look definitely at my other videos for the bracelets and stuff and see what you want to do. So now what I want to do is I want to be able to add a chain. So I think the best thing to do is going to be just to make some kind of loop here. So we'll just do like a little bit of a loop, and same thing here, but we're going to want to make the loop somewhat in the middle here. So if we bring this one around and make some kind of little loop. There we go. We're just going to do, maybe bring this loop up a little bit more. Probably is going to be better because it's probably good if your loops are more or less at the same place. Now, this is definitely a novelty item. I wouldn't necessarily sell these because I don't know how well it's going to hold in place, but it's fun. It's definitely fun, and there's definitely a lot of possibilities for it. So this is just a starting point, and then you guys can play around with it as well. So that looks really actually kind of cool, and it's pretty good. Like, it's pretty solid with that 18 gauge wire. And then what you want to do is get the chain, and I think probably there's a few options here. Like, you could hook it here, but it might look a little bit funny. So maybe decide like how big your bracelet has to be. So say we know it's going to end about there, but this has to go in the middle. Let's go ahead and clip it there. And then what we want to do is add our other end. So you can just add a split ring or whatever other kind of loop you want to the other end. Just stick it in the chain. This chain is a little bit fine, so if you have a chunkier chain, that would be good too. So this is, you know, the ideal length of the bracelet, and then you want to calculate sort of where that should go in the middle, plus leaving a little bit of space for the jump rings. So probably, you know, cut it about here-ish. So we'll just cut it about here, and then, you know, it's hopefully centered, and you'll just take that and cut this end to about the same length here that you want to maybe measure with a ruler or something too if you have to. And then we're going to add the jump ring and then the name on there. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. We'll just put the jump ring on the other side and get our chain and close it up. And there you have Emily on a little chain for a bracelet. So I'm going to do the name Sharon for my friend Sharon, and I've cut a piece of wire that's about 8 or 9 inches long. So you need about 1 inch per letter, plus a little bit of extra for some wiggle room. And so we're just going to start by forming the S, and I'll start with the top curve and then bring it down. I don't want to make the name too big because there's quite a few letters, so depending on how long your name is, that might decide like how big you want to make it, and you don't want it too wide for the bracelet. So there's the S, and then we're going to bend that to the back and bring it down. And I usually like to alternate bending to the front and bending to the back. It just depends on what letter to, because some letters it's more appropriate to bend one way or the other. So this is going to be the H. So for the H, I'm actually going to bring this to the front. Looks a bit like an L. We'll bring that down to the front, and then you want to bend it back on itself to form the little hump in the H. So that's going to go also to the front, and then bring this down, and then it looks like the H like that. And then I'll just use my smaller pliers to bring it out at the sort of ground level, I guess you'd call it. So I'm going to bring that out there, and then we need to do the A. So the A, I bring it around to the back. I'll show you why. So we're going to bring this around to the back, adjust the size that you want all the way to the back, and then up, and then push it in with your middle finger and push this to the front. And that makes the sort of line across the A. And then we're going to bring this at ground level again, and then bring this up to form the cursive R. So we're going to bend this to the front, just down, and then you can reference cursive letters if you want to Google search and have some to reference. And I also have a playlist, of course, of all the letters, lowercase and uppercase. So there's our cursive R. Bring this across at ground level again, and then the O is very easy. You basically just do a circle, and I don't make it too fancy, just around like that. There's a couple ways you can do that. You could bring it up and do the N like that, or you could just bring it across at the ground level again, and then bring this up. Pull it a little smaller if it's too big. Bring this up, and then for the N, I always like to do that little hack where I just do like a little loop, and then I pull the loop in tight, and it gives just a little bit of definition to the N. So we're going to go in here And there we have Sharon. Looks really cute. I might have to give this to my friend. And we're going to bring this across here. So there is the name. And then with this part, we'll decide after how we want to attach it. Because what I want to do now is make a kind of a frame to put this in. So if we can also like put it on its side to make sure it's all sort of level. And then to make the frame part, I'm going to use 18 gauge wire. And basically what I want to do is have 2 pieces of wire, and then they're going to kind of twist around. I'm going to show you. So we're going to cut them a little bit long to start. So I'm going to cut a couple of pieces that are about 12 inches long. And then what I want to do is just hold them together and imagine, you know, the name's going to go sort of in the middle there, and just take these and cross them back and forth. Just hold them in a crisscross way and then just do the twists. So as you twist, you want them like pointing out. And if you have, you know, your own techniques of twisting, that's fine. It's really hard to get them even. I'm going to do my best to get them even. It helps if you like push them out. That helps to make the twist get quite even. So we're just going to twist it around. We're going to try to envision how much we're going to need to go around part of the wrist. And the idea is they're going to end like sort of near the center back. But that should be enough. So we're going to go like that and spread them a little bit here. And then what I want to do, this angle isn't super important. You can do them like straight out or more on an angle, however you like the look of it. And then basically we want to take our round pliers and bring it out and bring it out here. And then you're going to check your name and see if that's going to fit in the frame. You might have to adjust it. So the idea is that this is going to kind of go in the frame. It is a little high, it could be a little more narrow, and then we're going to kind of finish it around here. So this, we're just going to bend this up here. So that one's going to go up that way, and then that should be enough room for the name. And then this one, if you find it's too, like if it's too high, you can just bend it down a little bit more. Okay, so that's the idea. And then here, we kind of want to like maybe measure it so that it's the same. So you can measure it on your tools, or you can measure it with the ruler, whatever you think is best. So we're going to go down there and then just bring this down and see how it looks. So that looks pretty good. This part might be a little tricky because you don't want it to get like squished in there. So just kind of hold it about the right distance apart, maybe even a little wider than you think you need. And then you're going to hold this and just give it an initial bend. And then you're going to check it, and it looks like it's pretty good. We can always even adjust a little bit after. And then we're going to just go ahead and keep going with our twists. So this is cool. I've actually not tried this design yet. This is something I envisioned when I was doing the other ones. I did some sketches for it. So again, you're on the ground floor of me trying this out just to see if it's actually going to work. But I thought it was a good idea. Like if you want to put the name in a frame and have it quite solid, because otherwise those name bracelets can be really fragile. Now see, this is doing a weird little wobbly thing, but that's something you can fix just with that here. Perfect. And then now what you're going to do is, let's put the name in and then we'll check if the height's okay. See, this ends up being a little bit wide there. So if it's too wide, just take that and little bit of a rotation, and you're going to bring it in a little bit. So it's getting to be a better kind of distance apart. And then if you need to adjust this to be similar to the other one, you can go ahead and round it out a little bit more. So that's the idea for that. And then we're just going to get the name and figure out a way to attach it in there. And so this one I'm going to put in behind because it looks like it's going to fit better in there. So let's just stick this one in here and make sure it's somewhat centered. So we're going to bring that in here and then just take this and wind it through. So we'll bring that in here. Now it's going to depend on what letter you're starting with to see how it's going to actually fit in the frame. Sometimes you have to help it with the round pliers to bring it in like that a little bit to make sure it's going to stay in place. So you can go ahead and just keep kind of wiggling it around until it seems to fit in place. So this one we're just going to wind in here. Now if you want it to be more towards the bottom, just wind it above here to just a little bit above, and we could probably put it through a couple of times until you find that this is in a good position. So once it's wound around enough, then you could clip it, and then you might have to go to the other side to adjust this one too. So we're going to go to this side, and it looks like we might have to wind it around a little bit more. So we're going to bring it here, and we'll just finish it on the top. And you want to make sure you push your little ends in so they're not pokey. And then from there, we want to find out about the kind of length. So now you can go ahead and get a round form to bring them around. And this one too, you can straighten it out a bit and bring it around. And this really depends on how big your wrists are. So we're going to just wind it around. And if you just try it on your wrist a little bit to see, this one looks like might be about right. This one maybe is like too long and that one's too short, but it should be not too bad. Like if you have to pull it back a bit, you can. So we can just pull that one back a bit and then clip it. And then we're going to bend that and make the circle like we did in the previous video with the previous bracelets. We're going to bring this around, make a round form here. And this little end here, if it's a little bit sharp, just kind of push it down a little bit. And then we're just going to kind of bring this one around, do a decent size loop here, and then just bring it around a couple of times and clip it. Just clip it like that. And then for the other side, you want to make sure it's about the same. If you have to twist it a little bit more, you can go ahead and twist it a little bit more because you want the same amount on both sides. So you can measure it if you like, or just kind of wing it. And then we're going to clip that end here, push it down so there's no pokey ends, and then make your loop here however big you want it. Make sure it's about the same as the other side. Bring that around. Just bring it around there and give it a little clip. And then always like push your little ends in here. And then what you want to do is get a little clasp. This is actually, it kind of holds its shape pretty good. Like if you feel that it's solid enough, you can just definitely wear it kind of as a bangle like that. Or if you want, you could bring it in and add a little chain and a clasp. I actually kind of like it just like that. I think I'm just going to leave it as like a little slip-on bracelet. So there's another option for your name bracelet. So thanks so much for watching the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots more DIY wire art and jewelry making videos. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live and when I post new videos. And if you'd like to share photos of your wire work, be sure to join the Wire Art and Jewelry Makers Club on Facebook. And if the challenge is already over, no problem. You can still hop over to Facebook and join the community. Or if you don't have Facebook, you can hop into the Discord community there as well. And also, if you'd like to check out my wire art and jewelry on Etsy, my husband and I specialize in custom wedding cake toppers and funky jewelry. And I also have a mailing list, so I'll link that up below. And if you sign up for the mailing list, I'll send you my free Wire Art Essentials ebook. So thanks again for watching. If you're participating in the challenge, good luck, have fun with it, and we'll see you the next time.